This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at @BackupBradleyAbove at the top of the screen and everything that we're talking about here today. So let's get right into this because it just drops like a bomb to me. We have been talking about the fact that CBDCs have been in the pilot testing phase and this, that, and the other with this particular bank, that particular bank. 80% of central banks are in some sort of development phase or piloting phase of a central bank digital currency, according to Jerome Powell. And I just said the other day when I covered the BIS and the Innovation Hub, you know, that we are seeing the Bank of Canada and Riksbank out of Switzerland developing, and they said, especially Riksbank said they were all in on digital currency and developing a CBDC as well. And I had made the comment in that video, and if you haven't seen it, look, just search BIS, you'll see it. But if you think about that innovation hub, which includes the Federal Reserve out of New York, about developing fintech for banks, which is also encompassing developing central bank digital currencies. That innovation hub put together by the Bank of International Settlements also, as I said, includes the Federal Reserve out of New York. And the other day we covered that the Bank of Canada and the Bank of Switzerland, and I'm trying to get it all together because I'm so excited, but they had acknowledged they were all in on central bank digital currencies. I made the point to ask the question then, do you think just some of the people in that BIS Innovation Hub will be developing central bank digital currencies? Well, of course not. They all are. And Jerome Powell goes on to say that 80% already are. So this is exciting news for all of us. I'm going to play you from just 2 hours ago clips of Jay Powell making powerful comments, speaking to the IMF and Kristalina Georgieva and everyone else on the panel. And I'm going to play these clips to you, which I feel like support every bit of the information that we've been looking at here that say, you know, to a lot of other people say we're being hypey or talking hopium and these things. And I think it's good when we see these things that start to verify that the things that we consider news, the things that we consider fundamentals are reinforced with the words of Jerome Powell. I'm going to play these couple little clips for you. And as I do, I'm going to start to show some of the documents that we've been looking at over the last year or so, and even recently, and show these things that I believe he's leaning into while talking. So let's go ahead and do this now. This first string of comments really talks about CBDCs, 80% of banks developing things, and then talks about, he references right at the end of this particular clip that he's talking here about the FSB, the Financial Stability Board, a regulatory agency connected to the G20. What have we said time and again? It is from the top down, and that's why he references that, and he specifically references it about global stablecoin, and he stops talking immediately after. Let's listen to this clip here.
Good morning from Washington to my international colleagues, and thank you very much, Kristalina, for bringing us together today. And I'd like to start by saying that we are committed to carefully and thoughtfully evaluating the potential costs and benefits of a central bank digital currency for the U.S. economy and payment system, as well as for its international implications. We've been actively participating with other central banks and the BIS in that work, and we feel that that collaboration has been very productive. We have not made a decision to issue a CBDC, and we think that there's a great deal of work yet to be done, as well as extensive public consultation to be had with all stakeholders before making such a decision. The dollar is the world's principal reserve currency, as you pointed out, and I assure you that we will be approaching this question with great care. That said, something like 80% of central banks around the world are exploring the idea of issuing currency in digital form. The opportunities and risks presented by a CBDC will differ by country and by jurisdiction, and the decision whether to issue a CBDC will be made by each individual country. So there are several reasons why a central bank might want to do so. For example, there are a number of ways that a CBDC might improve the payment system, and it is mainly this area that motivates our interest. These include basic issues such as faster and cheaper transactions, and more complex issues, from addressing a decline in the use of physical currency to modernizing payments infrastructure to reaching consumers that have traditionally been underserved by financial institutions. Other potential motivations are more macroeconomic in nature. Each jurisdiction will need to think carefully what its principal motivations may be, and for the Federal Reserve, as I mentioned, our main focus is on whether and how a CBDC could improve an already safe, effective, dynamic, and efficient domestic payment system. Unlike some jurisdictions, here in the United States, we continue to see strong demand for cash. Moreover, we have robust and mature financial and banking sectors, and we have a highly banked population, so that many, although not all, already have access to the electronic payments system. Our payment system is evolving quickly as technology advances, for example, with the introduction of instant or fast payments, both private and public, including the FedNow service. We think it's important that any potential CBDC would serve as a complement to, and not a replacement for, cash and current private sector digital forms of the dollar, such as commercial bank money. You asked about Libra, and I agree that it highlighted the need to improve cross-border payments and generally succeeded in focusing attention on payments-related issues, including consumer protection, cybersecurity, and privacy. So it's probably too early to say how much Libra will ultimately shape the payment system. I do think it has caused regulators to think carefully about the appropriate risk management and compliance expectations for emerging innovations. And I would point to the FSB's consultation on global stablecoins as a case in point. I'll stop there. Thanks.
And he stops right at the FSB and the idea of a global stablecoin, which we covered. Their third phase report came out just a few days ago, 7 days ago. Ladies and gentlemen, this is absolute confirmation to me personally, and I'm not selling a used car, but the reality is to me is that we are watching the right things, we are reading the right documents, and we are seeing the right actions be taken by the different agencies and banks and financial institutions around the world. And now it is beginning to be revealed by Jerome Powell that this, in fact, will be a public-private relationship, and we're going to go on to that moment right now. Let me cue up the time here for us to go to, and believe me, this entire thing is very good. You should watch all of it, but for the sake of this video, we're going to keep it tight today. So, okay, now with this being said, let's let this play. Again, Jerome Powell, if you're not aware before this, has absolutely been completely against the public-private relationship. Okay, now, I have clearly said, in the face of everyone telling us at every high level, whether they're from Ripple, got the hiccups, everyone from Ripple to high level government, they tell us, oh, the U.S. is behind. The U.S. is behind. What I see is that the U.S. has been behind closed doors. And they're about to reveal what is going to bring us to the front of the line of the fourth industrial revolution. We didn't miss the internet. We're not missing this. Is there work to be done? Yes. Is there public information that we need to see roll out and happen first before it can officially take off? Of course. We've been in this space long enough to know that work behind doors has been done to a great degree, internationally and domestically. Now, they still have things they can work out. Obviously, that is for sure. But I think whether or not they are doing this is absolutely off the table. They are 100% doing this, and is going to happen. And I absolutely firmly believe that you would have to be completely robotic to not see at this point that it doesn't involve XRP. All right, let's go ahead and play this clip right here and then deal with the comments after. Here we go.
And how do you see your collaboration with BIS? Agustin mentioned the special partnership with the Federal Reserve System. So how do you see this new frontier and what role you play at it?
Thank you. So let me start by saying that we strongly support the work of the Innovation Hub and would stress that it's very much geared to creating public goods. We will have lots of conversations with industry and stakeholder engagement.
Really quick, we're creating public goods. That does not mean government owned. Okay, let's get that straight now. It can, but it doesn't have to specifically mean that it's government owned. Okay, let's understand that about the comment public good. Okay, the internet protocols that we're using to communicate with one another right now is a public good. It is not government owned. So let's keep this going here.
And that'll help us in our work on digital currencies and cross-border payments. We need to work collaboratively with the private sector, and we also understand there's a need to do ways that foster development of public goods. So the private sector is likely to be able to contribute through technological innovation. The public sector brings a perspective that seeks broad public benefits. And with payment systems, there are going to be potentially large network effects that create increasing returns to scale, meaning that we may well see over time emerging a small number of dominant players and ultimately great difficulty in competing with those players. Indeed, that is what we see with a number of the tech giants today in their existing businesses away from payments. We do need to collaborate with the private sector to best achieve our goals, and we're very mindful of the challenges of doing so.
But before he goes another step, that's the first time that's come out his mouth in a public setting. It's the first time it's come out of his mouth, and in fact, he's been adamant that it not be a public-private relationship. This, to me, is clear in a way one of those big red flags or signals that lets me know that behind closed doors, it has been kept from us that it will be a public-private relationship, and it has been all along. And I don't think that this has come on him in the last couple weeks in some giant epiphany from reading reports. Now, you don't have to believe what I believe, but I've been in this space long enough to know what I've seen, the documents I've seen from many different places around the world. There's no way that the Federal Reserve started their task force in 2015, in my mind, so Ripple could join it in 2017, be selected, put on the steering committee for implementation, and then somehow the Fed would come away in 2020 saying that they don't want a public-private relationship? Well, what the hell was Ripple doing on the Federal Faster Payments Task Force then? This is what I mean by, the optics, right? What they show us versus what they're doing are two different things. When you have the largest economy in the world, they don't want this to go until they're ready for it to go. The most important thing for me to remember, and I think to share with all of you, is no matter how bad we want it, they need it more than we want it. And like I know, we all want it really bad. And they need it. It's not even about want. They need it.
And yes, we can be and we must be on the forefront of research and policy development. So the Fed has been working for a number of years to better understand the opportunities and risks presented by technological innovation. We're taking a multidisciplinary approach to these issues, bringing together economists, policy analysts, technologists, lawyers, and others to tackle the subject from multiple angles. We've been able to harness the strength of the Federal Reserve System with our 12 reserve banks and the Board of Governors to help us gain a more well-rounded view of the topic. So, for example, to further our understanding of the capabilities and limitations of different technologies and platforms, we've been engaged in a number of research projects. One set of experiments is being carried out at the Board of Governors here in Washington, D.C. Complementary efforts are also now underway, for example, through the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, which, in collaboration with researchers at MIT, is developing a hypothetical central bank digital currency. These types of experiments advance our understanding of the risks and benefits of CBDCs, measuring trade-offs between different designs and system arrangements, and assessing security risks. On the policy side, we're also actively engaging with a wide variety of stakeholders from government, academia, and the private sector to gather differing perspectives and expertise about potential CBDC issues, the range of design options, and other considerations. We anticipate expanding this dialogue to ensure that we're developing a broad and inclusive understanding of these issues. In all of these efforts, collaboration with other central banks around the world continues to be vital. Thus, we continue to offer strong support for the research efforts of the BIS, the Innovation Hub, and in particular for the group of central banks around this BIS that we've been working with to evaluate costs and benefits of a CBDC. So we think overall these efforts position us to be able to engage proactively with a wide range of parties on rapid developments in these areas. And as you mentioned, we're doing so within the framework of serving concurrently as supervisor, payment service provider, and issuer of the currency. Central bank money and private dollar-denominated money, particularly commercial bank money, effectively fit together in the current payment system. So any CBDC will necessitate roles for the public and private sector. Thanks.
There you go. And any CBDC roles will accommodate the public and private sector. Now that is pretty remarkable to me. And just a finishing comment here from Kristalina.
Jay, this is fascinating. The speed with which central banks, the Fed, are moving in this direction of making sure that the public interest is protected and is best served with the developments we pursue.
Absolutely. And shout out to her and everybody at the IMF, for being on the same page here. Look, I have to say, these are very bullish comments from Jerome Powell. They really are. These are extremely bullish comments from Jerome Powell. And to really lay it down, for me, I have to say, is just clearly revealing what they have known all along. This is pulling back the curtain and allowing us to see what they're about to unveil to the rest of the world, which is a new financial system that is going to be a new financial market infrastructure, new payment rails, becoming the Internet of Value and back end, the new financial system for all your derivatives, all your cross-border and the like, smart contracts, the whole bit. So this is extremely exciting. I don't know about you guys, but this is extremely exciting for me. All right, I'm going to wrap it right there. I want to keep this buttoned up. But listen, make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and absolutely share with somebody you know. And do not forget, don't click on just any old link on the internet. If you need something, anything you may want or need in this space, all the products and services that I offer in the description box or the comment section are all things that I actually use and believe in. So make sure you check them out if you need something. Ledger Nano S, Unstoppable Domains, whatever it is, go get it. A Pure VPN, it's there for you. I Trust Capital, even taxes. By my God, we're waiting on taxes at this point. We know we're getting a CBDC. Make sure you follow up on your taxes for crypto. Don't forget about it. It's a legitimate market. We're not going back the other way. I'll catch all of you on the next one. Take care.